Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is the Friday news dump here on the show where we don't rehearse and we get our news 15 minutes before we start. So let's start with this show with our headlines. What did we find today? Today on Before Coffee, Putin talks about ending the war under 6 conditions.
And Clarence Thomas is a scumbag grifter, but he's also a terrible father.
3 men convicted of murdering Dutch crime reporter Peter de Vries.
And a U.S. submarine pulls into Guantanamo Bay a day after Russian warships arrive in Cuba. And we remember Cathy Smith, the infamous woman behind a few rock songs and one superstar's death.
In culture news, what is Ireland's Yes Festival?
Those stories and more, which is National Cucumber Day, Friday, June 14th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Okay, let's start with the end of the week news here. Coming out of the war in Ukraine and Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin, this is on the Spiegel. Russian President Vladimir Putin has once again made an offer for alleged peace talks. However, he has set conditions that are unlikely to be acceptable to Ukraine or the country supporting them. Russia will be ready for peace talks tomorrow, Putin claimed, if Ukrainian troops withdraw from Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, and Luhansk region of Ukraine and abandoned his plans to join NATO. With this move, the Kremlin is apparently trying to torpedo peace summit in Switzerland, in which Russia itself is not participating. Okay, the conditions mentioned by Putin are hardly acceptable for Kyiv. The Kremlin chief also claimed that Russia would ensure a safe withdrawal of Ukrainian troops. According to Putin, the peace proposal is not about temporary ceasefire, but about ending the conflict completely. Putin calls for lifting of Western sanctions. Other flimsy peace demands listed by the Russian leader include Ukraine's non-nuclear status, restrictions on military power, and the protection of the interests of the country's Russian-speaking population. All of this should become part of a fundamental international agreement. In addition, all Western sanctions against Russia must be lifted, Putin said. He's like asking for a lot, and what is he offering us in return? We'll stop killing people. Okay, is that it? We urge to turn this tragic page of history and to restore step by step unity between Russia and Ukraine and Europe in general, Putin claimed, while at the same time issuing an open threat. If Ukraine and the West reject the Russian proposal, the conditions for a new proposal would change and the situation on the battlefield would not be in Ukraine's favor. If you don't agree to us, we're going to continue killing people. And it's going to be a worse offer next time. Ukraine is currently aiming for a complete reconquest of its occupied territory. President Volodymyr Zelensky is also demanding prosecution of Russian war crimes and Russian reparations for the destruction caused. Meanwhile, the Russian president has once again condemned the upcoming peace summit for Ukraine in Switzerland this weekend. The meeting is a diversionary tactic designed to distract attention from those truly responsible for the conflict. Russia, hello, you. Without Russia's participation in the talks, it would be impossible to reach a peaceful solution in Ukraine and for the security of Europe in the general, Putin said. The conference in the Swiss Conference Hotel Bergenstock near Lucerne on Saturday, which is June 15th, and Sunday, June 16th, is primarily intended to mobilize international support for Ukraine, including from countries that are friendly to Russia. Russia's participation in the talks is only planned in a second step. Chancellor Olaf Scholz is traveling to Switzerland from Germany, and Vice President Kamala Harris is traveling from the US. I love this idea that's like, these people are stopping peace from happening. Not me, Putin. We need to get the people who are in charge of this war and stop them. You started it, dude. You're the one who put troops on the ground and attacked countries and threw missiles, okay? Hello?
He's the one losing population.
Yeah,
he's the one
right?
that has a weak economy.
So that's the news coming out of Putin's mouth. And I guess we'll look at what happens over the weekend at this Switzerland conference. Hopefully they can get more support for Ukraine, because I will take sides, and I'm on the sides of the people who were already there to begin with for thousands of years. Yeah. I'm always going to choose the indigenous population of a country as an indigenous person myself. On to your story.
Okay. Well, from
I did get your
international
video.
intrigue to... What's that?
I got your video.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Did you see my subtitle? That's what the video's title is going to be.
Oh, wait, you sent me the wrong video. You sent me a 3-hour video on crickets and grasshopper sounds.
That's exactly what I sent you.
Oh, okay.
It's called sarcasm. Okay. All right. Okay, on to American political news. Unfortunately, Clarence Thomas is still in the Supreme Court. This is from Yahoo.News. Hafiz Rashid. Clarence Thomas's son breaks silence from jail. The man Clarence Thomas said he once considered like a son now says that Thomas doesn't want much to do with him. Mark Martin, the grandson of Thomas's sister Emma Mae Martin, spoke to Business Insider from jail cell in South Carolina and said that the Supreme Court justice and his wife Ginny don't have a relationship anymore, despite being his legal guardian from ages 6 to 19. Martin, who is awaiting trial on drug and weapons charges after he was arrested last summer, benefited from gifts of Thomas received from conservative billionaire Harlan Crow, which the Supreme Court justice initially failed to include in financial disclosures, something that you and me would be fired for.
Yep.
Something that you and me would actually face federal prison for. Not paying your taxes, folks. That's a crime. Not declaring income. That's a crime. Not for Clarence. I haven't really heard much from them in a long time, Martin said of his adoptive parents. I tried to communicate with them a couple of times, but I've never gotten any response. In 2007, Thomas said in an interview with C-SPAN that he and his wife were raising Martin, then 16, as a son. Martin would attend military prep school at Randolph-Macon Academy and Hidden Lake Academy, a residential therapeutic treatment center plagued by allegations of abuse. Oh, well, they sent him into a drug academy. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Oh, not a drug academy. Allegations of abuse academy. Okay, that's what. Abuse could be anything. Yeah. We could have clicked on that link. Thanks to Crow, a Randolph-Macon alumnus, paying the tuition at both schools, Thomas did not report these payments on his financial statements, nor did he report them to the IRS.
That would be silly. Why would you do that? It's like,
what?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe he followed the law. What the hell? What does his job entail? The law or something? I don't know. Some legal thing he does for a living. I guess so. Can't be bothered with those mundane details of life when you're busy, grifting full time. I guess they looked into Randolph-Macon Academy because Harlan Crow actually graduated there, so I guess that was behind their decision to send me there, and then apparently helped finance the HLA trip too. Martin told Business Insider, saying that he didn't know at the time that Crow paid for his education. ProPublica reported last year that Thomas had enjoyed luxury vacations on Crow's dimes almost every year. Thomas failed to report those trips until just last week. In addition, the publication reported on Crow funding the renovation of the home where Thomas's mother still lives, as well as Martin's private school tuition, estimating the school fees likely exceeded $150,000. $150,000 that money just came from somewhere, Clarence Thomas tells everybody, including the IRS and everybody. Everybody just gets to fucking guess how much money Clarence Thomas actually has. The rest of us, we got to tell the IRS.
Yeah. Martin
Martin told Business Insider that he enjoyed a privileged childhood, traveling to more than 20 countries and spending summers wakeboarding and water skiing. He also remembers babysitting Crow's son when their families went on vacation together. Crow was paying for a free babysitter. But Martin said that when he wasn't really paying for something that's free. He was paying for a babysitter, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. It was babysitter expenses. But Martin said that when he began high school, Clarence and Ginny Thomas just didn't have time to deal with him anymore and sent him away to boarding schools. After his freshman year of high school began, Martin said he rarely saw his great uncle and great aunt. According to Martin, he was expelled from Randolph-Macon Academy after his junior year after failing a drug test. And he said that the Thomases then sent him back to his mother's house in Georgia. He said that he's rarely heard from them since. Last year, Martin was arrested and charged with drug trafficking and weapons possession. According to Business Insider, Martin's car was stopped as part of a juvenile sex trafficking investigation, but he doesn't face any charges related to that. Martin also faces charges pending from 2021 allegedly trafficking meth and heroin, Business Insider reported.
Wow.
Citing arrest records, Martin faces at least 25 years in prison over the drug charges and 5 more years of illegal gun possession. I actually don't know if they know that I'm locked up. I'm not sure they care too much, Martin said. I've probably seen them 2 times, maybe 3 times over the last 14 years. I just wish they'd at least communicate with me and get to know my children, Martin added. They raised me like another mother and father, so I wanted my children to know who raised me into the person I became. I wanted them to be around for at least to see my kids grow up. Thomas didn't respond to Business Insider's request for comment. It's not likely that he would have offered any acceptable justification for his and his wife's treatment of someone they referred to as a son. Thomas still refuses to speak about the unethical gifts he's received and adamantly refuses to resign from the Supreme Court despite all of his ethical scandals. Sadly, it seems that Martin's life has been a casualty of Clarence and Ginny Thomas' service to the conservative movement. They are scumbags of the lowest order. Ginny and Clarence Thomas. They want to tell you how to raise kids. They want to force unwanted children on you. They can't raise one child on their own in spite of their incredible wealth. They are human scum. In other news, U.S. Supreme Court pulls into Guantanamo Bay a day after Russian warships arrive in Cuba. Yes, we are having Cold War action in Cuba again. This is by Lolita C.
Not
Baldor,
sure if that's something to
the U.S. Navy.
celebrate.
I don't know. It's just posturing.
Yeah.
A U.S. Navy submarine has arrived in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, in a show of force as a fleet of Russian warships gather for planned military exercises in the Caribbean. Good, we can see what you guys got up front. We can see it up close, see what you guys got. We can take pictures from the air. We can totally surround you. You're in the Caribbean. We can blast you out of the water anytime we want to. You're in the Caribbean. You're in our territory now. Don't pull no shit over there. Anyway, U.S. Southern Command said the USS Helena, a nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine, pulled into the waters near the U.S. base in Cuba on Thursday, just a day after a Russian frigate, a nuclear-powered submarine, an oil tanker, and a rescue tug crossed into the Havana Bay after drills in the Atlantic Ocean. The stop is part of a routine port visit as the submarine travels through Southern Command's region, it said in a social media post. Sure it is. Other U.S. ships also have been tracking and monitoring Russian drills, which Pentagon officials say do not represent a threat to the United States. This is not a surprise. We've seen them do these type of port calls before. Pentagon spokesman Sabrina Singh said Wednesday when asked about the Russian drills. We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States. The exercises, however, come less than 2 weeks after President Joe Biden authorized Ukraine to use U.S.-provided weapons to strike inside Russia to protect Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. Russian President Putin then suggested his military could respond with asymmetrical steps elsewhere in the world. You don't scare us. You don't scare us, Vlad. You don't scare us. Sorry. Singh said it wouldn't be a surprise to see more Russian activity around the United States in such global exercises. These drills are in international waters, and U.S. officials expect the Russian ships to remain in the region through the summer and possibly also stop in Venezuela. That's right, we got people whose full-time job is tracking Russian warships and Russian activities. Just some more posturing in the post-Cold War, which is kind of a hot war at the moment. But back to you.
Well, I can't. If I want to be judgmental, if the supposedly only child that Clarence Thomas raised ended up selling heroin and meth on the street, what is that really? That sounds exactly like somebody that couple would have raised, I guess, since they're also breaking the law and, federal crimes on tax reporting and all of that. So
I always go back to a phrase that the Christian conservatives use on everybody else. What would Jesus do? Oh, surely Jesus would cast his child aside. Surely that's what he would do. That's a Jesus thing.
Yeah, they can scam people and take bribes, but having a child that does drug smuggling, that's too much for them.
Not even that. They kicked him out for just being positive on a drug test. They kicked him out, threw him back to his get on back home. We can't handle this child rearing crap, but we're gonna force it on other people. We're gonna force you other people to raise children you don't want. It's the hypocrisy. They can snap their fingers and get rid of that kid. Not you. Not pay. And if you get an abortion, you're going to prison. Anyway, that's Clarence Thomas, the worst human being on the planet. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, speaking of terrible human beings who have committed crimes, 3 men convicted of murdering Dutch crime reporter Peter Vries have been sentenced. This is on The Guardian. Who wrote this? Associated Press in Amsterdam. That's who wrote it. Okay. A Dutch court has convicted 3 men of the murder and their roles in the 2021 shooting of an investigative reporter, Peter de Vries, on a busy Amsterdam street. A brazen attack that sent shockwaves through the Netherlands and through, I think, most of the investigative reporter circles. The shooter, getaway driver, and organizer of the attack were convicted of direct involvement in the killing. Yeah, I hope the shooter was directed. Yeah, I hope he had direct involvement. The guy who shot the gun. Actually, the gun has been put in prison, and the man who shot it was given a lollipop.
Rest the gun.
The shooter and driver were sentenced to 28 years, and the man who organized the killing to 26 years in 1 month. So the person who basically hired the killers. The 3 demonstrated unprecedented ruthlessness and unscrupulousness. Their actions and the recklessness they showed demonstrate that they do not care about human life. The presiding judge of the Amsterdam District Court, Geert Oldekamp, said. De Vries, 64, was shot on the 5th of July 2021 and died of his injuries 9 days later. Annemiek van Spanje, a lawyer for De Vries' family, said they were satisfied with the judgment, but that the bottom line is, it won't bring their father back. That's true. Everyone always says that. Revenge doesn't bring the people who died back. In all, 9 men were charged in connection with the murder. 3 were convicted of complicity and were given sentences from 10 to 14 years. 1 man was convicted of drug possession but cleared of complicity in the murder. He was sentenced to 4 weeks. 2 were acquitted because they were charged only with involvement in a criminal organization, and the judges said prosecutors had not proved the organization's existence. Prosecution spokesperson Justine Asbroek welcomed the convictions. Speaking outside the courtyard, she said, "We are happy that this criminal case has come to an end, and at least for the time being, we're happy for the family and that it's finally clarity about those involved in the murder." The full names of the suspects were not released in line with Dutch privacy regulations. I mean, they're already in jail for 28 years, so maybe they'll release their names when they get released. Prosecutors had sought life sentences for the gunman, getaway driver, and organizer, and sentences from 3 to 21 years for 6 other suspects. The sentences were mainly shorter than requested because the court said prosecutors had not proven that the suspects were part of a criminal organization or that some had acted with a terrorist motive. Asbroek said prosecutors were likely to appeal against this aspect of the verdicts. De Vries' murders caused outrage, grief, and anger throughout the Netherlands, with the Dutch King Willem-Alexander called it an attack on journalism, a literal attack on journalism, the cornerstone of our constitutional state, and therefore also an attack on the rule of law. The judge said the murder had sent a shockwave through the Netherlands. De Vries had been an advisor and confidant for a protected witness in the trial of the alleged leader and other members of the crime gang. The witness's brother and lawyer were both murdered. The group's top gangster, Ridouan Taghi, was convicted of his role in 5 gangland killings and sentenced to life behind bars in February. Judges called him the undisputed leader of a murder organization. Taghi has not been charged with involvement in the assassination of De Vries, and prosecutors have not charged any suspects with ordering De Vries' death. Whether Taghi was involved in the murder of De Vries and what intention he may have had is expressly not up for assessment in this criminal case, the judge said. Earlier this year, von Spania lamented the fact that there was no suspect was on trial for ordering the murder. The family's lawyer told the Associated Press, "The fact that the person who ordered the killing is not known, is not on trial here, naturally hangs like a shadow over the trial." The shooter was arrested less than an hour after the attack, along with the getaway driver, a Polish man identified only as Kamil E. Prosecutors told judges at Amsterdam District Court that the murder weapon was found in their car. Wow, they really didn't try at all, did they? An hour later they were found. Just like, what did they... Oh, stupid. Was it worth it? No. It's only probably spurned and hastened investigative journalism and shown that it was the right thing to do to be investigating this crime organization and trying to find the leader, because they killed several people, 3 people over this discovery of this gangland crime. Anyways, that is the update and hopefully a final closure on the sad murder of De Vries in the streets of Amsterdam. On to your story.
Just some more scumbags that need to be dealt with.
Yep.
Turning a minor investigation probably into a full-blown murder investigation that isn't going to do anybody any good. And they probably hurt their cause, whatever they were trying to help, by killing him. Because they attention to it. That doesn't even make any sense to kill somebody who's investigating.
They were just trying to get rid of witnesses, but the problem is
right, yeah.
What?
Pretty shallow thinking. And American entertainment news, Cathy Smith has passed away. Cathy Smith, if you haven't heard the story, you've definitely heard some songs that feature her. So let's delve into this story. This is AmericanSongwriter.com, Melanie Davis. Cathy Smith might not be the most recognizable name in American pop culture, but she was behind some of the most significant culture moments of the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, including 2 iconic classic rock hits and the tragic death of a notable comedian. Indeed, Canadian-born backup singer, drug dealer, and musical muse helped shape cultural history as we know it today. Smith first became associated with the music scene in the early 1960s when she befriended Levon Helm, who would later go on to form the band. Her connection with the group's members ranged from platonic to romantic to sexual. At one point, Smith became pregnant, but because of her relations with multiple members of the band, no one knew who the real father was. The group referred to the infant simply as the band baby. Well, that band baby's like 50 now, right? This incident and many others just before and after it inspired some of the most instantly recognizable songs in classic rock history. The band's iconic hit, "The Weight," follows the narrator as various characters, either thwart his efforts to throw more burdens on him as the song progresses. According to the website archiving the band's history, the band's association with Cathy Smith was the main inspiration behind the track. It was a song that Helm used to tease Cathy Smith with, the website reads. She mentioned that in her book, Chasing the Dragon. She said she would turn red and run away every time he sang it, and he would look over her and grin. The song's recurring theme of carrying the burden of others seems to be a metaphorical reference to the band baby, which either belonged to Levon Helms or Rich Danko, both of whom had sexual relations with Smith around the same time. Fellow bandmate Richard Manuel offered to marry Smith and care for the child, but Smith turned them down. Richard, who appears was not responsible, stood up and offered to take the load or consequences. It does ring bells with the themes Robbie Robertson has stated in The Weight, which is about sharing a load and guilt and the impossibility of redemption. The band Groupie was also the inspiration behind Gordon Lightfoot's Sundown. Years after Cathy Smith inspired the band to write The Weight, she inspired Gordon Lightfoot's 1974 hit Sundown. Smith began working for Lightfoot in the early 1970s and eventually started having an affair with this musician. I see a trend here. who had a wife at the time. Even without an element of extramarital affair, Smith and Lightfoot's relationship was tempestuous. Smith's independent promiscuity enraged Lightfoot's jealous personality, something Lightfoot referenced in Sundown. All it is a thought about a situation where someone is wondering what his loved one is doing at the moment. He doesn't quite know where she is. He's not ready to give up on her either, Lightfoot later said about the track. I was hoping that no one else would get their hands on Smith because she was pretty good looking. That's how I wrote the song Sundown. And as a matter of fact, it was written just about sundown, just as the sun was setting behind the firm I had rented to use as a place to write the album. Cathy Smith was the woman behind John Belushi's tragic death. Cathy Smith's mark on pop culture history didn't end. She also was a woman behind the famous comedian John Belushi's 1982 drug overdose and death. Law enforcement deemed Belushi's death accidental until Smith sold the real story to the National Enquirer for $15,000, in which she admitted to injecting Belushi with a fatal mixture of cocaine and heroin while partying in a bungalow at the Chateau Marmont Hotel in West Hollywood. I didn't mean to, but I was responsible for his death, Smith admitted in the June 1982 issue. I didn't feel responsible for John's death at the time because I didn't feel anything. I was loaded, really high on heroin. But now I know it is my fault. The salacious interview resulted in LAPD reopening the investigation into Belushi and charging Smith with 1 count of second-degree murder and 13 counts of administering a dangerous drug. She served 15 months in prison at the California Institute for Women from December 1986 to March 1988. Smith died on August 16, 2020 in British Columbia after her health steadily declined for years. So this is the American Songwriter Magazine doing a recent article about Cathy Smith. And back to you.
Wow. Rest in peace, Cathy Smith. I didn't know she
Take the load off Fanny. She's the famous Fanny from the song. Take the load off Fanny.
Mm-hmm.
And the load was a kid, according to this legend. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, in more culture news, we are looking at... Where did my browser go? Here we go. We are looking at the Yes Festival in Ireland. This is on Euronews Culture. From... Somebody wrote this article, I'm sure. David Morquand, of course. He writes all the articles for Euronews Culture. Ireland's first all-female festival takes place at various locations across Northwest for the next 4 days. The Yes Festival will feature over 40 events and more than 30 female artists from the nations involved in the Ulysses European Odyssey project. The new all-female international arts festival, inspired by one of the most famous female characters in Irish literature, Molly Bloom, from James Joyce's Ulysses, is taking place today, June 14th onto June 16th at the end of the weekend. So get your tickets to Ireland now and check out the Yes Festival, and it's as the first of its kind. In the concept of Sean Doran and Leon Brown, artistic directors of arts over borders. It features 32 female artists from 16 different countries across the world, coming together to perform in a range of multidisciplinary and free events across the various locations in Derry and North Donegal. These events include theater, dance, visual arts, installations, film, writing, photography, textiles, circus, and music. Exploring the theme of the future of female vision, the Yes Festival invites audiences to think about the role of women, not only in Joyce's work, but more widely the role of women in art, business, and politics. Ulysses European Odyssey, UEO, is a project from 2022 to 2024 across 18 cities across Europe, producing artistic responses in public spaces to social and cultural themes identified in the 18 episodes of James Joyce's Ulysses. The Yes Festival is the homecoming and culmination of this 3-year international program, which has seen events in cities including Athens, Berlin, Budapest, Copenhagen, Istanbul, Marseille, and Paris. Paris. This journey marks the centenary of the publication of Ulysses. I think that means it's 1,000 years. Yeah, 100 years. Sorry, not 1,000. The 100 years,
100,
which was that. Even though, it was made in 1992 in Paris, but it's 2024.
James Joyce died a long time.
So it's
James
a bit
Joyce
longer.
wrote Ulysses. James Joyce wrote Ulysses 100 years ago, is what they're saying.
And the final day of the Yes Festival will be named Molly Bloomsday, as the 16th June is traditionally known as Bloomsday, the commemoration and celebration of life of James Joyce. John Kelpie, artistic curator of Arts Over Borders, says, countless words have been written about Ulysses, very often from the male perspective. So we're really excited that the Yes Festival should be created by women to see how they interpret Joyce's masterpiece. Kelpie adds, local people and communities as well as visitors will have the chance to connect, share and interact with a diverse range of art forms curated to showcase the exceptional creative talent and distinctive voices of women. No ordinary women are going to this festival, a 5-part series discussion on topics such as women in leadership, women in power, women in resistance, women in media, and women and climate justice. Featured speakers include Michelle O'Neill, Emma Little Pengelly, Shami Chakrabarti, Mary Robinson, Louise Cullen, Oif. That's an Irish person, I already know. Moore and Miram O'Callaghan. The world premiere and a fresh presentation of literary masterpieces included by Ukrainian filmmaker Sophie Muzhenko and featuring Dame Harriet Walter, Fiona Shaw, Eve Hewson, Adjoa Ando, and Siobhan McSweeney. Each of the performers reads one of the 8 long sentences that form Molly Bloom's extraordinary stream of consciousness monologue in the Penelope episode of Ulysses. Molly's soliloquy is set in the dead of night in her bedroom. It begins and ends with the word yes. The Molly films will also screen worldwide digitally on Monday, the 17th of June. So if you can't make it to Ireland, you'll be able to see the film on Monday. The Molly Bed, a special commissioned large-scale interactive installation by dairy designer Tracy Lindsay, includes a headband of a video screen to show the world premiere of Molly films on the 15th and 16th of June, and the massive bed will have a letterbox built into it on the side for visitors to drop in their own messages and aspirations on the theme of the future of the female vision. A closing concert of music, conversation, and poetry by Ireland's celebrated performer and musician Imelda May. The event celebrates the inaugural Molly Bloom's Day. So check out information on the Yes Festival at ulysseseurope.eu, or just search the Yes Festival on probably any search engine you use, and you can see all the cool people who are showing up, who are going to the public event. No tickets required, just to walk up into Ireland and just check it out, where all the places they're showing different installations and shows, and celebrate women in the arts. That's my story.
Just a point of reference. The book Ulysses is settled around 3 Dubliners, 3 people in Dublin on one day, and that one day is June 16th. 1904, so 120 years ago.
Yeah.
That's why they're having it on June 16th.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
I've actually read the book.
Did you mention that? I just had to verify why.
For everyone else in the audience, yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it was 100 years ago. It was 120 years ago.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Because I said it's the centenary, but it's not. That was 20 years ago.
The release of the book. But the novel, which was a compilation of articles, was released in 1922. So
yeah, so it's
102
2 years late, I guess.
After that. I get it. It's a centennial plus 20 of June 16th, 1904, the day of Ulysses. Okay. And where it takes us on to this day in history, coincidentally. Haha. Coincidence. Nice segue. Speaking of days in history, there's your segue. In 1645, excuse me. The New Model Army, led by Oliver Cromwell, defeated the Royalists under Prince Rupert in the Battle of Naseby. In 1658, the French and English defeated Spanish forces near Dunkirk, then in the Spanish Netherlands. You didn't know Dunkirk was in the Spanish Netherlands, did you? In the Battle of the Dunes. Dunkirk, I believe, now belongs... Who does it belong to now? France? Who does it belong to? Anyway.
I think it's France, yeah.
Still Netherlands?
Wait, what are we talking about?
In Dunkirk, where is
Yeah,
Dunkirk?
that's still France. That's still France.
Okay, all right. In 1777, the Continental Congress approved the Stars and Stripes as the first national flag of the United States. So, happy birthday to the flag. You gotta salute your old flag. In 1800, Napoleon and his troops defeated the Austrians at the Battle of Marengo, securing his military and civilian authority in Paris. In 1807, Napoleon also won the Battle of Friedland, leading to a treaty with Alexander I of Russia. So Napoleon was always warring, always at war. 1811, American author Harriet Beecher Stowe, whose novel Uncle Tom's Cabin fueled anti-slavery sentiment, was born in Litchfield, Connecticut. In 1928, Che Guevara was born. Che Guevara, the theoretician and tactician of guerrilla warfare, a prominent communist figure in the Cuban Revolution, and was a guerrilla leader in South America. He was also a doctor.
And famous graphics
Che Guevara is also
a
doctor. What's that?
And a famous graphics tee face. There's a bunch of graphic tees with like Che Guevara on it with the flag.
Oh yeah.
Especially when I was going to school, there's several kids with that shirt on. Not sure why.
Yeah, he was caught and executed. He was caught and executed in the mountains of Bolivia back in the early 60s. I actually met a guy that was in his firing squad. And I wish I was making this up, but he showed me a picture of him with a corpse of Che Guevara. They pose with the corpse. People are weird. Anyway, 1940, German forces entered Paris, beginning a 4-year occupation of a French city. In 1963, the manned Soviet spacecraft Vostok 5 was launched, and 2 days later, Vostok 6 was sent into orbit carrying cosmonaut Valentin V. Tereshkova, the first woman to travel in space. In 1982, the surrender of the large Argentine garrison at Port Stanley to the British military concluded the Falklands Islands War, which was fought for control of the Falkland Islands and its dependencies, territory long disputed by warring nations. So yeah, we took, the British said, Argentina, we're going to take those meaningless islands that are right off your coast. They belong to us because they're, I don't know, we're British, damn it, give it back. That's it. Anyway, I have no idea what they went there for other than to prove that Margaret Thatcher can be, oh, I'm a war leader. That was about it. Kind of the same thing that Reagan did in the Grenada. I'm a war leader. No, you're not. You're a miserable failure. Both of you were. Miserable failures. 2009 on this day, American basketball coach Phil Jackson won a record-setting 10th NBA championship as the Los Angeles Lakers defeated Orlando Magic. Whoopity-doo. Yeah, Orlando was actually good enough to get to the finals in 2009. I missed that year. I wasn't watching basketball, I gotta confess. On June 14th, also, our featured event, 1940, the first prisoners at Auschwitz. On this day, the first transfer of Polish political prisoners arrived at Auschwitz, which became Nazi Germany's largest concentration camp, extermination, and slave labor camp, where more than 1 million people died. The kind of thing that Donald Trump wants to bring back. He wants to bring back locking people up for their political beliefs or their ethnicity. Fuck you, get in the cage. That's the Republican mantra now. We're going to lock people up because they disagree with us. They're legitimately running on this. I wish I was making this up. This is what they're running on. Pay attention. Feature biography, Steffi Graf, German tennis player. born June 14th, 1969, which makes her 55, in spite of Britannica insisting that she's 54 today. But I can do math, and my math tells me that she's 55. She was born in Brühl, Germany. Famously married to Andre Agassi now. Right. The power tennis couple. Other birthdays today. Defendant Jay Trump's birthday today. Send him a cake with a file in it because he's going to jail. 1950, Rowan Williams, Archbishop of Canterbury, birthday, and it's Lang Lang's birthday, Chinese musician with a musical name, Lang Lang. Lang 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 Lang. Lang 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 Lang. You could just sing that all day. You could just sing his name and it'll be a song. Awesome. And what day is it today? It's Flag Day, because this is the origination of the Stars and Stripes, the American flag in 1777 we covered earlier. It is Flag Day. Wave that flag, everybody, and don't turn it upside down like some Supreme Court justices are doing. Fly it with the blue field on top. Not like these people who think they're under distress, even though they're rich and powerful, they think they're under some kind of threat. Actually, they are. I hate the rich and powerful. They should just go away. We don't need them. They should
shut their mouths and give their money to all the lowest level people working under them. There you go. That's what I think.
Yeah. Promote the people that make you money and stop being so greedy. It's National Bourbon Day. So while your Friday afternoon is dwindling down, get smashed. And it's National Strawberry Shortcake Day. So don't combine with Cake Day, or tomorrow you're going to be having National Puke My Guts Out Day. It's National Pop Goes the Weasel Day, which probably has something to do with the song, or it's probably just a day to appreciate weasels. And of course, I don't appreciate weasels because weasels are kind of like the animal that wants to have it both ways, you know? It's weaselly has become a term for people who just can't tell the truth. They just can't come out with the facts.
They're weasel out of the honesty.
Anyway, exactly. A certain Donald Trump comes to mind as a weaselly personality and never admits he does anything wrong, can't laugh at himself. A true weasel and a grifter. Grifters are always weasels because they're never telling you straight stories. They're always shading the truth, make themselves look good, or make themselves look like a victim. The weasel. It's Papa Weasel. Pop Goes Weasel Day. National New Mexico Day, state we lived in for quite a while.
A real state in the United States. It has a star on the flag and everything, guys.
That's right. And don't forget, all of California, all of Utah, all of Colorado, all of Nevada, parts of Texas, and Arizona, all of Arizona, I say Arizona, were all considered New Mexico at one time.
And Mexico.
So there you go.
At one point, they were just Mexico, part of the Mexican empire.
Yeah, they were Mexico until the Mexican War,
and then America walked in and stole it, literally stole it. Mexico was fighting Spain, I think, and then the U.S. was like, we're just going to walk into Mexico City and tell us to give us land. And they're like, what are you doing here, the U.S.?
Now it was a border dispute.
They stole the land.
States turned a border dispute into Texas. They turned a border dispute with Texas into an invasion of Mexico and marched all the way to Mexico City and said, hey, we just decided we don't want to fight you anymore, so just sign all these land over to us, and it worked. And since then, we have not had a war with Mexico, so there you go, it worked.
Yeah, I guess so.
And in fairness, what has Mexico done since then except fail miserably? So that their governments, I'm saying, their government has failed miserably over and over again. I don't know.
They don't have any external pressures, perhaps. Yeah, from other countries, maybe north of them.
They have plenty of oil. There's plenty of oil in Mexico. There's plenty of natural resources.
Their hands in government politics and putting in puppet governments. I'm sure that's not happening anywhere south of the United States.
Yeah, and of course, again, the rich stay rich in Mexico and the poor stay poor. There's no upper mobility unless you want to be and then that's about life expectancy of about 30, if that. And it's also the Army's birthday today. It's National Flag Day and the Army's birthday, so those go hand in hand. National Cucumber Day, we mentioned earlier. Love me a cucumber. Cucumber water for customer only. From the old Better Call Saul. He worked at a nail salon, and he was always drinking the Korean ladies' water, cucumber water. He had a lawyer office in the back of a nail salon. National Movie Night is tonight, which is awesome. I'm gonna watch a movie, which can be any night actually, and it's Wear Blue Day, which is the Friday before Father's Day. So apparently Father's Day is this weekend. And if you know a father, hey, say hey, whatever, buy him a tie or something. Don't buy me a tie. I don't want a tie.
I don't know what it. Yeah.
But it's Wear Blue Day, which I'm wearing purple. I'm
wearing purple too, so I guess there's blue in there. You know, it counts.
You still got time. Still time to change. And those are your days for today. And June 14th, 2024, before Strawberry Shortcake.
All right, this has been me. I'm wearing blue now on my head. Wearing blue.
Go, right?
Happy Father's Day, because I'll probably forget on the weekend because I basically turn my brain off on the weekend. Thanks for
happy Father's Day.
Donating your genetic material to my mother's genetic material and creating a child. Yeah, you did it. You did it 4 times even. Look at this guy. Wow. Trophy for Roger. Woo! Everyone wish him happy.
And happy Father's Day.
Yep.
Happy Father's Day to the members of the band who didn't know either one was the father of Cathy Smith's baby. Happy Father's Day to them, even though they're both passed away now. They're all passed away now, but the thought is there. The feeling's there.
All right. Well, thanks all the fathers out there. The good ones, anyways. Don't thank the bad ones. They don't deserve it. And the ones who don't even try. We will see
Clarence
you
Thomas.
On Monday on Mucking Fun Day, where we will cover everything that happens over the weekend. Hopefully news from the Switzerland summit. But please don't forget to subscribe to the Ally and Rog channel, which I probably should actually link the channel for people who don't have it. But more of that.
Take
care out there. Have a good weekend.
Have a subscriber drive.
Stay safe. Thank you, Valkyrie, for lurking in the chat, and I hope you also have a good Friday. And here is, what did you tell me to say? Let me look at my lines here. I'm not a professional.
Drop today, in lieu of mic drop, we're going live to the National Rifle Association, the NRA's live protests of Hunter Biden's conviction on gun charges. Here you go. Look at them all. Look at them all out there protesting.
Wow. Where are they? Are they behind those plants somewhere? Maybe
what?
Are they on the mountain?
Don't you see them? They're on Selick. Yeah, right behind that. No, that's it. Oh. Wait, is that Ted Nugent? Nope.
No, I don't think so. That just looks like a rock. Huh.
Somebody holding the sign way back there, I think.
Hello?
I guess.
Wow.
Is that Kid Rock? Oh, no, not Kid Rock.
No.
No. Is that John Boyd back there?
Maybe we came too early. Maybe the protest is later. Maybe we came.
That's right. It's probably one of them time zone things. Maybe we're there. Maybe it's over, right? And these bees are just enjoying themselves. Yeah, possibly the bus was late. Well, anyway, there's a protester. As you can see, the NRA is so violently angry that Hunter Biden got convicted. They can't get over it. But, wait. That's Tom Selleck,
you could say the fields are buzzing with information about this.
Oh, there's that Rittenhouse kid. There he is. Oh, and there's his mom, the one who gave him the gun to cross the state lines and shoot people. Oh, yeah,
Is this the situation where...
Kyle Rittenhouse is... Oh, no, that ain't him. Never mind.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Is that what's happening? Honey, I Shrunk the NRA protesters on gun convictions?
That's right. Maybe they found... Yeah, that's right.
Whoops.
Sure, a lot of honeybees, actually.
They tried so hard to fight for the rights of gun charges until a Democrat gets it, right? Until a Democrat gets it.
You know, busy as a bee is more than just a metaphor, you know. I don't know. There you go. There's the amount of protest the NRA has for somebody getting prosecuted for a minor gun crime. They don't give a rat's ass because he's on the other political spectrum. Or he's related to somebody on the other political spectrum. For all we know, Hunter Biden is a fascist at heart, but he's the president's son, so they have to go, oh, well, obviously he's a criminal, but he deserves to be locked up. Not like our fine NRA members. Anyway. The irony is milked out of this completely. Time to go.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.